Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is the very first follow-up episode of Everything Under the Sun. I'm sorry, I just made myself laugh before I started recording. It kind of helped to ease the nerves. I think that I don't know, it's one of the things that I do to help kind of ease some nerves or um, relieve, stress in that way. It just kind of like make yourself laugh. And it's something I still have to do. I still get nervous every time before I start recording, but that's not what this is going to be about. My name is Ty, by the way, and yeah, this is a follow up episode. So I spoke about this kind of in the first two or three episodes or something like that about having a follow up episode where it's going to be a shorter version of the actual episodes that are just going to follow up on some of the topics that were already spoken about. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. And it's I don't know, I love this podcast just because it's a good reason to put on pants, like other than sweatpants, especially during this quarantine time, because it's it's definitely been a few days where I've noticed I'm like, huh, I haven't actually put on real pants today. So it's it's getting to that point. But yeah, for some reason when I start recording this podcast, I have to put on actual clothes and pretend that I'm actually speaking in front of people. So it helps me to get dressed and put on something else. So that's good. Um, but anyway, hope you all are doing well and hopefully getting out of your sweatpants every now and then. But who you don't really need to if you don't need to. But so today's follow up episode is going to be on dreams and fear. And again, these are two topics that we spoke about before, but we're gonna just kind of follow up on some of those, and specifically with dreams, kind of the nightmare end of it, like I spoke about before. And I kind of love how these topics are somehow, I mean, they're being randomly drawn out of this box, but they're somehow being connected in these different ways where it's like, well, I mean, everything is connected, but it's being connected in these different ways where it's very interesting how we can gain so much awareness just by realizing the connection that all these different things have in our lives. So, in the dreams episode, we kind of spoke about dreams in this way of the sleeping dreams, the one that you have while you're dreaming, and your subconscious, starts taking hold, and you dream in fantastic ways like that. And sometimes they're positive dreams, sometimes they're more scare based dreams where like obviously we know them as nightmares. And there are the other types of dreams that's more of our goals and aspirations and things that we want to do. So both those are going to be kind of spoken about, not so deeply obviously because it's going to be a shorter episode, but both those are going to be spoken about in this idea of speaking about dreams. So with nightmares, I spoke about in the dreams episode about how nightmares are formed from these anxieties and fears that we have and that we're manifesting within ourselves based on different circumstances that are arising. And I've realized by speaking to different people that they've had dreams concerning this coronavirus. And I think that in itself, as there's a raising in obviously fear or anxiety or worry around this coronavirus as it spreads and continues to spread through the world, that more people are starting to have these nightmares about it or these bad dreams about it. And I think that just kind of speaks to that correlation of how our emotions speak so much to the things that are kind of getting into our subconscious minds. And I think that's kind of when we have to really take notice of it, because if you're having nightmares about it, then that means that in your day-to-day life, you may not be aware that you are not really being present with yourself and being aware of the things that you're feeling, and they're manifesting themselves through your nightmares because they have to be processed in some kind of way. So your brain's going to do that by itself, and that's going to cause you to have these nightmarish dreams. But it's the basis of it is this fear, this worry that's around the things that we're dealing with in our lives. And that's just something that reminds us that we have to stay present with ourselves. We have to constantly check in with ourselves and see how we're doing with certain things, because there are situations that can arise, and especially a situation like the coronavirus that's been spreading, that brings things to surface that we didn't realize were there, that brings different kind of insecurities, different realizations of the fact that you may feel like you always need to kind of go out. You didn't realize that you were out of the house as much until you kind of had to stay inside, or you didn't realize like different things that you were able to do during the time before the quarantine that you aren't able to do now, and it starts bringing up certain things for you. So checking in and noticing when, like, what those things are, and how they're influencing you in our day-to-day lives can better help us to, sleep better. And sleep is great for our health. It's great for, like, just operating in our day-to-day lives. And how can we properly just attend to, again, our day-to-day needs if we're not even getting a proper sleep, if we're being torn apart because we're having nightmares at night, and we can't get through the night because of these things that we're worrying about. So we're not only worrying about our dreams and the things that we, like, the horrific things that we may have dreamt about, but these underlying anxieties and worries that are adding to that because, like, they haven't been addressed. So, you know addressing those things and being aware of those things, and being aware that it's okay to have fear, to have worry, um, to be in these different states of beings, but obviously, like, you don't want to be there. Your body doesn't want to be there physiologically, mentally. So know that it's okay to have those feelings, but they will always stay with you if you don't address them, if you don't look into a deeper place within yourself, and sit with yourself for 10, 15 minutes a day at least to just reflect on what you're feeling and how you're doing, and and yeah, allowing yourself to kind of pull those things out of your subconscious mind that are kind of plaguing you in different areas. And this kind of does translate into the goals and aspirations that we have, because more than likely, I mean, again, there are so many people that they have businesses that they may have just started, or business that they've been running for a long amount of time, that are being closed down during this coronavirus, or people that have aspirations, that things that they were building on, or things that they were trying to start, that are seemingly crumbling down before them because of the state of the world in this moment. But those things that are happening obviously cause worry, and just confusion as to, like, what's going to happen next. But I guarantee that that's also, like, I mean, like, that's also influencing the way that you go about even thinking about those things anymore. It's like, now your dreams and aspirations as far as what you want to accomplish within your actual life, they're starting to get plagued as well. So those anxieties and fears that are underneath and plaguing you emotionally are also, starting to manifest themselves in your actual thoughts, and the things that you want to achieve in your life. So now you're, like, these things are limiting the way that you see the possibilities before you. And this is going to end. I mean, like, I'm not sure when it will, but I mean, this isn't how life is indefinitely. So it's kind of something that we have to keep in mind in the things that we want to achieve. Let's take this time to reflect on the businesses that we have, respect on our goals and aspirations, and build on them, and not let these fears and worries, and this confusion of, like, what's happening right now in this moment, to reflect on the things that we want to achieve in long term. And like I said before, where, like, we have those dreams, we have that end goal, and we don't know the route it's going to take. And who knows, like, maybe in this time of reflection, in this time of being able to sit with yourself, and really think about your business in a different perspective while everything's put on pause, that, like, maybe you could come up with some great idea, something that's, like, that adds to your business, or adds to, like, what you were trying to do in an exponential way. And you come back when this market gets back together, and you get back to your business, and you get back to building the things that you want to achieve, and it's better because of this time that happens. So that path to get there may not be able to be seen yet, but in this time now, all we can do is focus on, what we can do with the resources now. And what we can do is first address these things that are bringing fear and worry and confusion within us, address them, and get to a state where we can become more calm and more aware within ourselves, that we can continue to move about in a way that's productive for ourselves. And like I spoke about again in the fear episode, this way of, there's the example of the dark room, where it's like, you don't have to fight out the darkness, because that's not going to get anywhere. You're just going to be fighting against nothing. You merely open up the curtains and allow the light to come in. And with fear, this analogy is, like, you shouldn't fight away fear, because, saying, like, I don't want to be afraid, or, denying the fear by not addressing it is not going to do that. But it's this, like, fighting something that's going to just get, like, stronger as you try to fight it. But by merely opening up, like the curtains and allowing courage to come in. Like I imagine these things being on like a dichotomous scale where it's like, there's fear and there's courage, and we have to move ourselves towards that opposite end of that quality. So and this is different for everyone. I think that's something so critical to remember, because there are so many of us that have courage within us, that have so many traits that others will see as being courageous, yet we don't find ourselves to be courageous. So I think that it's very, it depends on each person how they see courage. So ask yourself, what would a courageous person do in this situation? And I mean, it's not for you to kind of put yourself outside of yourself, or to try to be someone else, but the things that you create within your own mind about like what a courageous person would do in that situation, those are the ideas and conceptions of courage that resonate with you. So if you are creating them, if they resonate with you, then move towards that. You're essentially just take your own advice. You're creating these qualities and these traits within yourself that a courageous person would have to get through that situation. So start cultivating those qualities. Like imagine yourself with those qualities. Use that same imagination that answers that question of what a courageous person would do in that situation. Use your imagination to implant these qualities within yourself, and it's gonna take a while, but it starts with you changing that self dialogue. It's changing that self talk, and moving yourself and your mindset to a place where you know that you're supporting yourself to get towards that place of courage. You're supporting yourself to move past that fear that's holding you down and holding you back. And again, like it's reinforcing that self talk. So having things like, I have the will and the strength to get through the situation. I can and will continue to do what's best for me. I will overcome this challenge. I have the support to get through this if I need it. And those are the things that are going to cultivate that those qualities of courage, on top of you answering that question of what a courageous person would do in this situation, and pulling apart those traits and qualities that you're manifesting in your own mind through the answering of that question. So as always, trust yourself, but in order to trust yourself, you have to understand yourself. And in order to understand yourself, you have to sit with yourself. So you know trust yourself as you delve deeper into your thoughts and things like that, and take hold of the things that you want for yourself, and start moving towards those things, because there's so many parts of our lives and aspects of our lives that can be manipulated and warped and pushed aside and muted because of something like fear. And and it's debilitating, and it's not something that we need for ourselves, and it's not something that betters us as people. So if we find ourselves fearful, if we find that our dreams are being impeded on, if we find that we can't sleep at night because of it, then start asking yourself how much time you're giving to yourself, and and how productive is that to moving you to where you want to go. So that's kind of what I'm going to end with here. There is going to be a full episode later that's speaking about social media, like I spoke about in the last episode, and I'm going to be joined on that episode with a guest that will kind of just discuss this topic with me. So expect to hear that. I may have mentioned that in the beginning of this, but I also may not have. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your time in quarantine. Find something productive to do if you can. And remember to always sit with yourself, love yourself, and that's all I got. So I love you all, and I will see you next time.